Right. Hi, Leon.
Good afternoon here. Good evening, where you are.
Thank you so much. Leon, you gave an incredible talk. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, we have quite a few questions that the viewers have put forward to us. So, with that in mind, should we delve straight in?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Right. Okay, here we go. So, Leon, Neha Jeffrey asks, incredibly powerful story of resilience, mental toughness as well. What would you recommend to people who are going through an extremely tough time?
Hmm. Um, I would recommend for them to one, stay hopeful, right? No matter how tough times may be, no matter how hard the adversity may seem, it is a season of your life and a season that is completely possible to overcome. Um, some things that you can do is you can journal and write about your experience. You can watch motivational videos on YouTube. And another thing that I like to do is read. You can read for inspiration as well. And so just find whatever it is that whatever medium that is attractive to you, and use it as a tool and a resource to pull you through.
Okay, thank you. Another one here is from Arda Tyson. How did you let go of the trauma and anger that was generated to then start a journey towards being happy?
It was a decision. I had to make a conscious decision and a choice to choose happiness over that anger and frustration. And I want to be clear that it's not like a light switch, right, where I could
Yeah.
switch off the anger and the frustration or the trauma. It's something that is a part of who I am now. And so I'm consistently doing the work, right? I'm consistently cultivating that garden within myself, right? So that I can stay healthy, so I can stay happy, right? And again, there's certain things that I use um, to cultivate that garden, like writing, reading, again, watching motivational videos, and even sharing my story.
Yeah, interesting. So, can you give us a few examples of sort of books or motivational speakers, or I'm sure the audience would like to know, some of the tools that you use, so that perhaps they can to look into them as well.
Absolutely. Eckhart Tolle is someone that I like to read. I like to read his literature. Paulo Coelho is one of my favorite authors. The Alchemist is like my all time favorite book.
Yeah.
I recently read Into the Magic Shop by James Doughty, which is a fantastic book. I also just completed Tuesdays with Maury by um, Album. I forgot his first name. Um, but it's a great book, and so these books create insight and wisdom for me to like navigate throughout my trauma and adversity.
All right, thank you. Um, so we have the next question is from Saoirse Johnston, and the question is, what thoughts would you share with other young people who may be interested in getting more involved with social activism?
Yes, I would say continue to educate yourself. There's so much to learn, right? I'm still learning more about history here in America and even world history. So educate yourself, and then lean on whatever your natural gifts or talents are, right? Right. Um, are good at connecting people. Are good at art events or some people are good at mobilizing people. Some people are good at marketing on social media. Some people may be good singers or musicians or writers. Whatever it is that you're good at, you can use your natural born gifts and talents to add value to this movement and to ultimately help, make the world a better place.
Thank you. Okay. So the next one is from Chris P. And he's asking, what was the most difficult moment in your recovery?
Ooh, there's so many, so many. It's hard to uh, discern what was the most difficult.
Yeah, sure.
Um, my recovery was difficult. I mean, getting shot, was one thing, but to wake up in the hospital and to find out that I was, paralyzed, that I was also facing up to 20 years in prison, um, and having to adjust to life after my injury, it was all difficult. It was physically difficult. It was mentally and emotionally difficult, and it was even spiritually difficult because I questioned God, why I didn't know what why I was going through this level of adversity. But now I look at my life now, and I get emails from people from all over the world who I've had the privilege to inspire and to help through their painful moments, and so it all makes sense now to turn that pain into purpose.
Yeah, incredible mental toughness, of course, it has to be said. Um,
Thank you for having.
uh, but okay, next question. So, from Kristen Lee, generally, how often and for how long do you meditate?
I try to meditate every day. Um, Sometimes like 2 or 3 times a day. Um, and I usually meditate anywhere between like 15 minutes to an hour. It all depends on if I have like my son and how busy he is during that time. My son's able to meditate with me for about 15 minutes, and then he gets jittery and wants to move around.
Nice. Yeah, I'm also looking into meditation increasingly now, and definitely it's certainly something I want to take up more. So the okay, next question. So Melissa asks, I love how you describe yourself, Leon, but what makes up Leon?
What makes up Leon? Well,
Yeah.
that's a great question. Um, I believe I am. I'm thoughtful. I'm compassionate. Um, I'm exciting. I believe I'm humorous. Sometimes I laugh at my own jokes. Most of the time, I laugh at my own jokes. And I'm just, a person who's living. I'm living my truth, right? And my truth changes from day to day because I'm ever evolving. And yeah, I think beyond that, I'm pretty sure there's other things. And I'm still getting to know myself. I'm still exploring and diving into self so that I can get a better understanding of who I am.
Okay. Thank you. And from that, Chris Kerwin asks, what is the most important factor of resilience? Is it family mindset or something else?
Um, I think the most important factor of resilience is, again, like you said, that mental toughness and choosing to be strong, right? It is a choice. I remember, I had like my family structure is very strong. I have a very strong support system. However, in the beginning, I was in such a dark place that I wasn't even receptive to my family's support, right? And so I had to, open up my heart and my spirit to even accept that support. And so it's not always about that family support because sometimes you can be in such a dark place that you reject that love, right? You reject the support and that dark place. To acknowledge that they acknowledge where you are and acknowledge the fact that and try to acknowledge the fact that you're rejecting this love and support, and then make a conscious decision to receive it, right? Make a conscious decision to embrace it. Make a conscious decision to say, hey, I want to get past this more than I want to sit in it. So I'm willing, right? I'm willing to be strong, regardless of what's in front of me.
Excellent. Thank you. On that topic, Kayan Ron asks, what's your source of courage?
My source of courage. Um, Two things. Looking at my parents,
Yeah.
and then looking at my son, right? And so I'm always like, I have again that family support system. I know my parents got my back, and then I want my son to be resilient as well because I've seen my parents overcome so much in their lives, right? And that gave me the strength to say, hey, I can do this too, right? And so when I look at my son, I'm like, yo, I want him to be courageous and audacious in life. I want him to live with no regrets, right? And so I make decisions based off of the trust and the foundation that my family created for me, right? And then how I want to present myself to my son so that he can be courageous as well.
That's excellent. Thank you, Leon. So the next question is from SG Hook 3. What has been hardest for your son to understand during these times?
I would say the thing that has been hardest for him is like how I'm so happy. He's like, he understands, what's going on, and he's always like, yeah, you're always smiling, you know what I mean? And he's trying to process, why other people are so upset and angry, and he watches me, and he's like, yo, like my dad's always smiling. He's always happy. We were reading a book maybe a week and a half ago, and we were talking about maleness and manhood. And I asked him and my nephew, what is a man? And my son said, someone who's always smiling 24/7. And so I think he's trying to process um, what it means to be vigilant, what it means to stand up for justice,
Yeah,
but also what it means to be happy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next question is right. Tess Brewer asks, do you think that things will actually ever change? Aren't people becoming ever more socially isolated and lost in their own filter bubble?
Mm. I think I'm very hopeful that things will change, especially if we continue to have these conversations and fight against the narrative that people are socially isolated, right? I feel like we all have a part to play, and it doesn't cost anything to spread joy, doesn't cost anything to spread love, doesn't cause anything to spread happiness, and we can do it through text, we can do it through pictures, we can do it through video, right? It's not something you don't need to be face to face to feel someone's energy, right? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure we've all received text messages that we've read that made us feel happy the same way we may have read a text message and we felt upset or angry, right? So I encourage people to continue to spread love, regardless of what may be in the media, regardless of what we may think is going on in the world, or what may actually be happening in the world. It's still important to be receptive, to the spirit of God, and to spread love and happiness.
nice. Thank you. Um, here's a question from Albie Shale. And Albie says, hi, brother, Albie here. What is the best way you have found to create happiness for others?
Albie, that is my brother. Thank you for the powerful interview. For all of you out there, Albie interviewed me for this festival, and so I'm still trying to figure it out, bro. Honestly, But I have, shared my story. I've found a way to share my insights. And I also work with a team of people to create a self care toolkit, right? And so the self care toolkit is actually in the link in my bio on Instagram. And it's free for anyone who wants to download it. And so I hope that this resource is something that can help people find happiness for themselves and to start their process of healing.
Thank you, Leon. Okay, next one from Alex Keller. Um, what is your relationship with the Pittsburgh Police today? Have you been able to fully forgive and forget? And do you have any vices or have you become superhuman?
So my relationship with the Pittsburgh Police, um, as a whole, we don't have a strong relationship. However, I'm friends with like the commander and a few police officers. Um, have I been able to fully forgive and forget? Um, I'm not sure if that is possible.
Yeah.
It's very circumstantial. There's days that I wake up and I'm full, right? And I may have meditated for an hour and I just completed a book and I'm feeling good and I'm like all about forgiveness. And then there's days where I may forget to meditate, I may forget to eat, and something, may happen throughout my day that makes me upset. And I'm like, yo, I freaking hate police officers, right? And when I do feel that way, I recognize that emotions our feelings are involuntary. They just are, right? And so I let them be. I feel whatever I'm feeling in that moment fully. And then I use that as inspiration to continue to do the work. And I love to speak, right? I love to connect to people. I love to share my story. I love to write. I listen to music, and I think that's like the healthy balance. I love food too, right? And so again, I found a way. I learned myself, right, and I found a way to create a garden in my mind that helps me thrive, helps me become creative and innovative. And so, like for instance, man, when everything happened with George Floyd, I was in a low place, right? Um, but then I got on one of our calls with a group that Albie and I were a part of called Voyagers, and connecting with so many great people from around the world lifted me up, right? And so I know that's something that I have to do whenever I'm experiencing borderline like depression, and so I connect with good people, and it's extremely helpful.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. So quite a lot of what you do as well, I feel like you become a master of energy as well. Like you're channeling, you're kind of deflecting negative energy, and then you're trying to channel more positive energy. And are you mindful of that? And sort of do you do that on
I
purpose?
absolutely. I'm very mindful of that. Even like dating, man, right? Like I can feel when people are sharing their lived experience versus projecting their trauma, right? And so like whenever people project onto me, I kind of take some steps back and I help them acknowledge that they're projecting, but like I have to be very mindful of my energy, or what I refer to as my garden, because it's like, yeah, when you're cultivating a garden, right? And this is from the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Um, when you're cultivating a garden, you have to pull out those weeds, right, or they will
Yeah.
reproduce, right? And so I'm mindful of what I allow into my garden, into my personal space, so that I can uh, and positivity that I like to emanate, that I like the world. Otherwise, if I let these weeds inside my garden, this is when it's hard for me to forgive. This is when I'm angry and upset about things that's going on in the world.
No. completely resonates with me. Exactly what you said in terms of the weeds and everything, and keeping positive energy and continuing with that and cultivating it. Actually, it's very good to hear. So, okay, next question is from Melissa Askew. You give so much to others. What is something that others can do for you to fulfill you and your happiness?
Just continue to share energy. Like, I think the process of me sharing with others, it is love, right? Like I read a book by Osho, and it talks about love is happy to give. So I find fulfillment in giving and in loving on people, and what others can do is do the same, right? Give love on people, right? Send energy, positive energy, joy, right? Be more compassionate and thoughtful in how we interact with one another. Even those that may have negative comments to say, even to those who may have hurt us, right? We can still send that positivity to them, and we can't be emotionally attached to what their process is going to be, hoping that they suffer for what they did. We just have to continue to send that love, and we have to continue to pray for them, and they will feel that conviction, in their spirit whenever they do, if they ever do. It's not our job to focus on that as much as it is for us to be intentional about sharing love with each other.
Thank you. And Melissa just said, thanks, Leon. You're truly amazing. Keep cultivating your garden and spreading love and happiness.
Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate you.
Right. Next question from Lester McGuire. What change needs to happen in America today to fix what is becoming an increasingly polarized society?
That is a big question. I think the first thing is we have to acknowledge our painful history. I think that America for a long time has been a master of suppressing our history. It's like therapy, right? When someone suppresses their pain for a long time, eventually they explode, right? And they don't know, where this explosion came from, what triggered them. And I think that's what's happening in America right now. America, we've suppressed our pain for so long, and now we're exploding. And what change needs to happen when someone explodes after suppressing for so long, right? Now they have to go through this whole process of therapy of figuring out who they are, how they've been socially conditioned through life, what were their painful experiences, and how they're going to overcome. And there's so many triggers in America. There's so many people who have been hurt, who are hurting, and it's time for our country to heal. And in order to do that, we have to acknowledge our history.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Leon. Next question is from Maxine Dean. What are your future what are your future plans for creating change in the world? The world needs more people like you. Are you planning to take your message to other countries?
Absolutely. So right now, I'm working with a team. I have a manager now helping me out, and we have so many ideas. Right now, we have the short film. We also have the self help toolkit, and I have a book as well, which is also in my bio on Instagram. It's on Amazon. It's called Untold, and so I found pleasure and fulfillment in sharing stories, sharing my experience with people, and helping them heal. And I've been to a few countries so far to share my story, but I'm planning to become more intentional. And the good thing with now with technology, right now I can hop on a Zoom call or a platform to share all over the world. And then once the world opens back up again, I'm looking forward to traveling wherever. I want to. There's so many countries. There's so many people who I feel should hear my story, and more so not only what happened to me, but my response to adversity and how I cultivate my garden.
Yeah. So please do put the UK on that list or on top of that list. So we'd love to have you.
Absolutely,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
and uh, and yeah, we'd love to see you in the UK as well. And of course, I think that's a good segue towards the end of our questions, which has now come to a completion. But incredible story overall, Leon. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer the questions as well. This has been truly great and very inspirational indeed.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone who tuned in, and the Happiness Institute and Growing Life for just putting this thing together. It's amazing.
And we appreciate Leon. Leon, thank you so much.
Thank you. Peace.